What is up, guys? Welcome to my review for Supergirl Season 3, Episode 14, titled Schott Through the Heart, and Schott is spelled S-C-H-O-T-T, as in Winn Schott, because he is a huge focus of the episode. But this episode came off the heels of a 3-month break, and looking at The Flash this same season, that was on only a 1-month break, and even that really just broke the momentum of the season. So you have to believe, like, you gotta know that a 3-month break will just destroy that momentum, and it definitely did. The momentum that the first 13 episodes of Season 3 built was actually great with the Reign storyline, the Legion of Superheroes thing, but then this episode comes on after 3 months of nothing, and it comes on with not that same storyline with the Winn storyline, and it's something I actually liked. But the Reign was barely in this episode. She was in one scene and not really much of a scene, and the Legion of Superheroes thing was really pushed to the side. So the fact that this is after a 3-month break and it chose to focus on a more of a side plot in the season really broke the momentum of the season. Hopefully they could bring it back with the next couple episodes, because the next episode looks to be really good with mon-el getting his new costume, with Pestilence and Reign. But as of this episode, the momentum of the season is completely destroyed, but I'm hopeful that they're going to bring it back. So this episode opened with an incredibly long karaoke scene, and it was just way too long. It was really drawn out. We saw every single character sing like 15-20 seconds of a song, and it really got really annoying, honestly, by the end of it, because like seeing one character be really bad at singing at karaoke on a TV show, that's fine. Like we saw that on The Flash in Season 1 with Caitlin, but they did it for every single character. It's like they reused the joke over and over again. The joke being that there's this person who can't sing going up to karaoke, and they reused it over and over again. And it doesn't really make sense, because we already know that Kara can sing. We saw that in the Flash episode, the crossover duet. We saw that she can't sing, or maybe that's just because of the musical setting. I don't really know, but this whole scene was incredibly drawn out, and it was just a really weird way to open this second half of the season. Like, they had this momentum going, and then 3 months, and then a karaoke scene, which is incredibly long and overdrawn and just not good at the end of it. So all the karaoke scenes in this episode really brought the episode down, in my opinion. I know up until now in this video I've been pretty negative, and that's true, so I'm going to talk about something that I liked about this episode, and that is Jeremy Jordan's performance. Jeremy Jordan plays Winn Schott, and like I said earlier, he was like the main character of this episode. He was the main focus, and it actually really worked. He was great. This is one of his best episodes, if not his best episode ever. His performance was great. He had a lot of emotional scenes between him and his mother, and they really worked really well, and mostly because of Jeremy Jordan's performance. The actress who played his mother wasn't that great. I felt like she overacted a hell of a lot in this episode, and it really showed. And I don't think she's gonna come back after this episode, and I'm kind of glad, because she was a pretty bad actress, and I think she's actually more famous than anyone on the show. So it's really weird. That happens a lot when a more famous actor or actress comes onto these shows. They're really bad. Maybe it's because they're not used to this type of writing, but she wasn't that great. But Jeremy Jordan was amazing in this episode, and it really elevated that side plot. It wasn't a side plot. It's a side plot in the season, but it was the main plot in the episode. It really elevated that. It was really the best part of the storyline, because the rest of the storyline was kind of subpar. The fact that his father died really didn't mean anything. Like I said, the mother that came back was a pretty bad actress, and especially the new Toyman. She kind of sucked as a villain. Like, there was really nothing to her. I think she was like a security guard at the prison where Toyman worked, or not worked, what I'm talking about, was incarcerated, and he taught her everything she knew, and that was really that was it. The only interesting part about that whole Toyman scene was the mon-el fight scene when he fought that toy dinosaur, that robot dinosaur. That was pretty awesome, which led to them talking about his cape and his old costume, which I am very relieved. I will talk about more about the Legion later, but I am very relieved that the costume that he has in the next episode is not just made by Winn, and it's actually his old costume from the Legion, because I thought that maybe the Legion was just this really dark thing that they only wore black costumes, and they were just like these official agents that wore color coordinated costumes. But it turns out they weren't, and they actually wore superhero costumes like a mon-el's costume in next episode. So I'm actually relieved, and that costume looks awesome, which I will talk about in the trailer breakdown for the next episode, and probably the review as well, because it's just such a cool costume. But the thing from this episode is the fight scene with him fighting the dinosaur, and it was a great fight scene. It was really cool. The CGI looked pretty good, and the way he took down that dinosaur was super interesting. The way he used his cape, because like Supergirl even said it, her cape is useless. Superman's cape is useless. It's not the same thing as Batman's cape, who he uses it he uses it a lot, especially in the Arkham games. He glides with it. He uses it to stun opponents. But here, Superman and Supergirl have never had, here as in every form of media of Superman or Supergirl, they have never had any use for the cape. So this fight scene really showed that maybe the cape can be useful, and it was just a cool fight scene because of it, and it looked good as well. And honestly, mon-el in general was great in this episode. He's actually becoming one of my favorite characters on the show. I really like this new version of him. The old version of him I didn't mind either, but this new version of mon-el, the 7-year-older one, is a much better character, and I like him a lot. Hopefully he becomes like Valor in the next episode, because Valor is his alter ego in the comics. Maybe he'll become Valor, but usually he's just called mon-el anyway, so that doesn't really matter. But either way, that fight scene was really cool. The new Toyman kind of sucked, and Jeremy Jordan's performance was great. So that's everything I have to talk about in this main plot. So I just talked about mon-el a lot, and I said I was going to talk about the Legion, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So the Legion, it was revealed in this episode that they have this true mission. It was actually revealed in the last episode that they have a true mission, and that was really the thing that the reason I dreaded this 3-month break, because I really wanted to know what that true mission was, mainly because the Legion Superheroes is, in my opinion, the best part of Season 3, along with Reign. Both of the things are great, so I really wanted to know who or what was this true mission. I expected it to be connected to Supergirl. I said that it's probably like they came back on purpose, as opposed to them saying they came back by mistake, and it turns out I was right. It is kind of connected to Supergirl, but they did come back on purpose, and the reason they did that is because apparently Pestilence evolves into Blight over the next 1,000 years, which is kind of crazy. I don't know, like, if Pestilence is going to look human or not. Maybe the reason they are postponing this reveal of Pestilence is because they want to save CGI money, and because of that, and Pestilence may look like an alien. Maybe she is an alien. Maybe she looks like Blight from the comics, which I don't really know what they look like. I'll show a picture here. But maybe she's gonna look slightly like this, and then over the course of 1,000 years, they evolve into the actual Blight. But that's the reason they came back. It was to kill Pestilence, so the Blight are never born. So that I forgot what the planet was called, but it's the planet where Lightning Lass and Lightning Lad are from. That planet doesn't get destroyed. Winnath, yeah, I think it's Winnath. It's definitely Winnath. So that's really their mission, and it is a little disappointing because I was hoping it was like connected to Supergirl. Maybe she's Pestilence. Maybe they came back to kill her or save her, and they didn't tell mon-el because mon-el wouldn't be on board with killing her. He would be on board with saving her, but it would have been a cool twist. Although it probably would have made the Legion bad guys, so maybe that's a good thing that didn't happen. But it was also not very connected to Supergirl. It was more connected to the World Killers. Mon-el said it was connected to her, and I expected it to be connected to her, but it turns out it's not. So I think that this true mission is actually pretty interesting. It's a lot more interesting than the other reason they came back. And the Legion are shaping up to be much better than initially expected. I don't know why they held back on all the crazy stuff originally. Originally, it was just a bunch of like 3 guys from the future in these black costumes, but now they're getting their actual costumes back. They have this true mission, which is a lot more comic booky, and then they're gonna get other members. So I don't know why they held back on all the Legions, like the comic book Legion stuff originally, but now they're giving us all of it because it's pretty awesome in my opinion. So hopefully we get more of that. So the last thing to talk about is the plot with Martian Manhunter and his father, Myron, and I'm kind of indifferent on this. There's not really much to say about this side plot. It wasn't great or anything. It's not really something I care about for some reason. Like, this character didn't really need to be included on the show at all, because like he's very similar to John himself, and it's Martian Manhunter. It's pretty clear that he's probably not going to stick around very long, so his inclusion didn't really matter in the slightest. So this side plot didn't really affect me at all, so I didn't really care about it. But who knows, maybe it's going to be great. Maybe it's going to give us some great performances from these 2 actors, because the actor who plays him actually voiced Martian Manhunter in the Justice League TV show, so maybe we're going to get something like that from this. But as of now, I didn't really care about this side plot. But in conclusion, this episode was it was good. It was definitely a good episode, but the fact that it came off a 3-month break really affected it, and the fact that it started with this really bad karaoke scene and the new Toyman sucked, all of that really hindered the episode a lot. But Jeremy Jordan's performance and the mon-el fight scene and the Legion's true mission reveal actually really saved the episode from being kind of okay or mediocre. So I'll give this episode an 8.5 out of 10. But anyway, let me know what you thought about the episode in the comments down below. Let me know what your rating would be out of 10 in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want better updates for my videos, definitely follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description, as well as daily polls that I do on Twitter. You can vote on those. They're a lot of fun. But if you don't have Twitter, or you don't want to follow me for any reason, definitely click the notification icon next to the subscribe button, because that definitely helps. And thanks for watching.